What's up, guys? This is episode 6 of viewer requested tracks. This is a series where I take in your song suggestions from the donation page that I run, and I review and I analyze the music. I also give it a rating and say whether or not I would add it to a playlist and continue to listen to music after the episode is done, which can be hard. People are generally sending in their deep album cuts from a band, which is hard for a new listener. Generally, when I listen to a new band, I'm listening to the most popular songs in their discography and ease my way into their music and their sound. But I think it makes for interesting viewing. I have 2 different tracks here today. One is from Claire, one is from John. And then lastly, I just wanted to say thank you to all the people who have been donating. It is super helpful in terms of keeping this channel running. We deal with a lot of copyright issues, as a lot of you guys know who have been watching the channel for a while. It is difficult to keep this thing running, but I think it also makes for some of the best content on the channel, some of the best videos, because it makes me listen to a bunch of different music I would have never heard. I think of tracks like the Megadeth track or the Dylan songs I've been listening to recently, like Subterranean, Homesick Blues. So thank you guys so much for that. And other than that, let's get into the music. Here we go. Okay, first up we have Roxy Music's If There Is Something. This is the suggestion by Claire. Let's get into the track. Here we go. Like the sound of that guitar. Interesting sound. I think the best thing about this thing is the pianist. That dude needs a raise. It's got like a throwback kind of vibe to it. It's like a track that is not made in like the 50s. I don't believe it is, but it sounds like it's like a kind of a retro vintage sound to it. Ooh. Great guitar line. Okay. Funky guitar line. I like it. Okay, this super interesting sound to it. Now, I know they have the producer Brian Eno, who's like really famous. He's done a bunch of like film scoring, and he's got influence in a bunch of different decades too. People cite him as a huge like music guy. He's had his hand in a lot of things. So the musicality of it is brilliant. But I'm not sure about the dude's voice. I think he's Brian Ferry, I believe, is the main singer, but I don't love his voice. I really don't. I don't like the way he's singing the track in like this kind of pathetic. I don't sound super harsh. the lyrics are like this guy who's like madly in love for this girl, and then the delivery of it is like kind of like I don't know. It sounds kind of pathetic to me. I don't know if that's too harsh. Let's keep this thing rolling. This bit sounds great. Wow. Psychedelic. It went from a guitar sounding thing to like a saxophone. This part of the track is brilliant. I don't know how they're managing to make one line that's been going throughout it sound like so many different instruments. I think it's a saxophone now. It distorts and turns into something else. Love this part of the track. Guitars come back in. If there's one thing that I can say about this track is that it is really, really brilliant musically. It's such a rich sound, so much going on. I think it's due to the fantastic musicians who are playing the different instruments. What I think was happening in the track, I think at the end of it, the dude kind of like went into some kind of like enlightenment mode, and it turned into this like kind of spiritual sounding track. This end bit here used to walk upon, and he's reminiscing about his younger years, maybe when he wasn't like infected by the love of this girl, because the first part of it is all about kind of like being head over heels for someone, right? They have a very similar vibe, or I think they live in a similar space to like bands like Talking Heads, where it's like this chic, vintage, modern, like it's a mix of going backwards and forwards at the same time. It sounds like it's doing a 50s thing at some points, and in the same minute will sound like something super futuristic, which is a very cool thing that they're able to do. But in terms of me adding it to a playlist and continuing to listen to it, probably not. Interesting sound, and I appreciate listening to the track, but didn't love it, especially the main singer's voice and his delivery. So I feel a bit like Simon Cowell here. I don't want to be too mean. But okay, on to the next one. Here we go. John's suggestion. This is White Pearl Black Oceans by a band called Sonata, Arctica. I've never heard of this band before, so here we go. This should be interesting. I'm thinking this is going to be like one of those ship songs. Finnish power metal.
All I could see her eyes. We got caught in the moment all of the night, taking beyond our lives in silence, leaving him all behind. She had found the sails for the following night. The time for her was getting way too small. She promised to be mine forever for that one night.
Okay, coming into this, I thought it was going to be a track like those like sea songs, those ship tracks that the ship crew sing together for like morale. Like, what shall we do with a drunken sailor? What shall we do with a drunken sailor? I thought it was going to be like that and like a kind of twist on that. It's not really. It's like this grand tale of these, I think, pirates, right? And there's like leaving for sail, but having this one last night with this girl that he's in love with or he loves. I think that's what's going on, right? Finnish power metal. I never ever thought I'd be listening to Finnish power metal. Very cool. We're switching up the phases of the track. As it gets darker, the music switches up. I like that. Here we go again.
Everybody give me
So the story continues to evolve, right? It looks like the crew has been caught in a crazy night of like madness where people have lost their lives. Darkness covers my lonely soul. No one to feed the dying light. Something terrible has happened. It seems like a lot of people have passed away in the crew. I think that's the story. I think I'm following along. You know what it sounds like to me? It sounds like they had a movie in front of them, which they soundtracked, and then we just don't get to see the movie. That's how it sounds like to me. It sounds like a track that a soundtrack or backs a actual visual images. Because look, we changed up again. The scene has changed now. Great line. Is he now in the afterlife? Is this section of the track now where he's like flaming eyes that I must confront before? He's like almost like being judged now, or like looking into the eyes of like the devil or something like that, right? He's like going into hell maybe. It's kind of what I'm getting from the story.
for the resurrection of the body, when the sea shall give up her dead, and the life of the world to come through our Lord. Amen.
What a interesting record. It's almost like fantasy, a fantasy track where you're like role-playing as a pirate or, you know, yeah, this is what I took it as, like a pirate, right? And he has this love which he has to leave behind, and eventually he dies in a terrible shipwreck, and then he goes to hell and comes back. Crazy kind of scope to the record. But here we go with the Simon Cowell stuff again. Did I love the song? Honestly, no. You have to understand, what you listen to as a kid shapes the music you listen to. The music that you like and the sounds that you appreciate. And so this is like where I started as a fan of music is here, and like records even like Bob Dylan are here and like Led Zeppelin are here. This is like all the way over here, you know, and it's super hard for me to get into in terms of like loving it. I can't quite describe how different it is to hear something like this. So in terms of like being in my Simon Cowell mode where I'm like super critical of everything, it's not something that I would add to my playlist, but it was an interesting listen, especially for like learning that there's a genre like this where it's like a fantasy genre where you role play as a kind of a different life or human. This is like, as I was saying, a song that soundtracks a movie that we don't even see. Is a pretty cool concept. So that's it. Shout out to everyone who donated. So that's Claire and to John for their donations and the suggestions. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.